Hello, everybody. Welcome to the newest thing coming to you from Shooting the Shelf and Just Shelve It and Art by Ackerman. We're doing our new Wednesday one-shots. With me is my loyal, steadfast companion and co-host, Curtis Ackerman. How you doing today, Curtis?
Doing excellent. I think these will be fun.
Yes, I love talking about toys. I love talking with guests, but I sometimes just want to get in there and just do a quick, hey, I or you or we both watched, liked the show, read this book,
hmm
whatever, and we just is kind of our staff picks, if you will.
hmm
Some of it's going to be old stuff, some of it's going to be new current stuff, and that sort of thing. So we're just going to jump right into it and try to keep these pretty quick. Like always, we don't really have a script, so we're just winging it. Curtis has no idea what I have loaded in the slideshow here, but we are going to be talking about today. I guess we're figuring this out as we go. We'll talk a little bit about the show. We're talking about Blue Eye Samurai today,
hmm
the Netflix show, and talk a little bit about it. And if we get into spoilers, we've got a spoiler card we'll put up. We might hit a couple things that are just revealed maybe in the first episode or so, but we won't spoil the entire series for you. No final things. So today, like I said, we are talking about Blue Eye Samurai, which Curse, how did you hear about this show?
I heard about it from Trevor Williams. Obviously in the community that we're involved in the Mythic community, there's a lot of different shows on, and Trevor was just hitting up the chats right and left. Blue Eye Samurai, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll try this. I kind of consider myself a little bit of a Blue Eye Samurai. I mean, obviously, I got the blue eyes, I got the hairdo. So I was like, I might try it out. Maybe it's just a biopic about me or something. It was not. Spoiler alert. So, um, but yeah, I think this will be a good one to talk about. We both enjoyed the series, and I will say that as far as the spoilery stuff goes, I can't guarantee, some of this stuff may get thrown in there. So just be aware, even though there's not a spoiler up there yet, there may be some spoilers in this. So just be careful if you haven't seen this yet.
Like I said, yeah. So if you want to watch the show, just know that we both highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to come back and see what we have to say, maybe come back to this afterwards. But if you want to hear a little bit more about it, you don't mind hearing some plot details, stick around.
Yep.
I don't think any graphics I have out of context are going to be that spoilery. So first up, I don't even know what order these are in. One of the things I think we both really liked about this is just the pure artistry and style of the artwork and animation in the show. Am I fair in saying that?
Yeah, I mean, I typically in the past have never really been an anime guy. Like, it's just not my thing. Over the past couple of years, I've tried a few out that I've actually really enjoyed. And so, I gave it a shot, and yeah, the art in it is really good. So yeah, I would agree with you there.
Yeah, I love that almost the whole thing is set. Now it does do some flashbacks, so there are time jumps, but like the current timeline story is largely set in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of snow and it's cold and wintry here, so that helps. But like just looking at the pictures and watching these characters walk through this landscape just made me feel cold while I was watching it. I just, wanted to pull the blanket up a little bit more and, you know, all of that.
Yeah,
So
and who doesn't like snow-covered ground and forest and all that kind of stuff? Like, yeah, it's just great.
right. I mean, it's not something I want to go be, trudging through like they are. Like that, I would be absolutely miserable. But it's beautiful to look at this, and along with the artwork, the filmmaking and the cinematography of this, because it's not. It's very much presented like a classic action movie or action series where there's camera pans, there's flips, there's turns. There's all sorts of different shots. It's not just, it doesn't feel, I don't mean this in an insulting way, it doesn't feel like a Disney cartoon. Like it's got its own style and flair to the filmmaking of it as well. Again, another setting just as during one of the flashbacks, just the strong colors and everything I think are beautiful in the show.
Yeah, I mean, it is wonderfully done for sure.
We'll say it is definitely a mature rated show, so this is up to viewer discretion, but it is I mean, it's got violence, language, nudity, the whole 9 yards. And again, some more of that snow stuff. Yeah, so we we meet this character. The show opens with like this talking about how it's like somewhere in the 1630s in Japan. White people have been basically exiled from China or Japan. They're not supposed to be there. But there were four that were doing all these bad things, and if someone was born of mixed race at that time, like they were considered like less than human, worthless. And that's of course our main character, and we meet this character what's their mission, Curtis?
Well, they're basically out for revenge. It's the whole thing is about getting revenge on those four, and we'll find out as we go along, kind of what those four have done specifically to the main character, and why the main character is out for revenge. But yeah, that's the main driving point of that person.
Yeah. And real quick, I want to make sure we mention Michael Green and Amber Niozumi are the writers and creators of the show. And there's some other casts as writing, but I've got the IMDb pulled up over here. So I'm going to check out Blue Eye Samurai if you want all the details on that. But yeah, it's your classic revenge tale. If you like stuff like Kill Bill or Payback or things like that, it's up that alley, but on a more like kind of like grandiose, epic scale, if you will.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking Inigo Montoya on Princess Bride, just kind of living your whole life for that revenge and really having no other meaning, other than that. So
yeah, and our hero Mizu. We do learn the name Mizu. It never gets mentioned in the first episode, so that might be a spoiler, but it's not a huge reveal when the name is given. We just don't know the name of the warrior in the first episode. But their whole thing is, just hatred and revenge. And, well, Inigo Montoya had, that drive against Six-Fingered Man.
Mm-hmm.
He still had, like, a sense of humor and
all this
stuff. Like, in this, Mizu is very like laser focused on the mission,
and has really cut off all ties with anybody else. Like there's like no human connections whatsoever. So yeah, I see your point there, because Inigo still had friends and personality and things, and this character is, like you said, laser focused. So and the good thing about this series, this is not spoilery, but there's a lot of character development throughout, and you learn. There's some flashbacks and there's some different things that go on that teach you about this character to kind of tell you why they got to this point. So it's not just this, bland, the writers couldn't come up with any other thing for it. There's a reason why the character is so focused on revenge and has cut off all other human ties. And I love that they get into that as the series goes on.
Yeah, you get a lot of stories, and we have different opinions about different things, about certain characters who come in that are just overpowered, or they just seem impossible to beat and everything. And Mizu definitely seems very capable, but not flawless. Like, definitely takes hits and bumps, and it's always learning and growing.
Well, and as much as the hero doesn't want to rely on others, there's a lot of times where they need others to help them out. So it's not one of these where the main character is a badass. I'll just say that total badass. But sometimes some fights are just so overwhelming in the odds that you need some help, and that happens in here. And like you said, there are some bumps and scrapes, and it's not one of these where they just come waltzing through and tear everybody up and leave without any sort of damage. That's not what happens here.
It's not like Shaft, where it's just like every problem just falls down before him when he shows up. And it's but like you were saying about the flashbacks and the characters is so well done. Like, it's some of the best storytelling I think I've seen in a long time.
And it's a lot of the characters too. It's not just the main character. Like
Right.
the character Ringo, which I won't get into too many spoilery things, but just has this like really good heart and is just this like optimistic, positive person that you just love to be around. Voiced by the same actor that played Hero in
Masa Oka.
Heroes. Yeah. And does an amazing job. And it's just this character is striving to be the apprentice of our hero, and just wants to do everything that they can to make a difference and be great at something. And yeah, it's just love that. That's probably my favorite character of the series. I just love that character. But you know, there's other characters that some that are going against the main character, some that are, you know, fighting alongside the main character, that they develop all of them. Like it's not, it's not focused on just one person. I really like the writing in it. We talked about the artistry and the animation and stuff, and that does look great, but the story in this is so good. Just love it.
And I also want to mention Amy Doherty did the music. I think the score, like the orchestration and the score on this show is fantastic. They do bring in some more modern musical elements at times, like modern day songs, but they work. It feels a little off in some points, but not enough that it takes me out of it. I really liked it. It's got an amazing voice cast. Like you said, Masa Oka, where are the names? Randall Park from the MCU, George Takei, Brenda Song, Kenneth Branagh, Maya Erskine, who's going to be in that new Mr. and Mrs. Smith series coming with what's his name? Glover. From
Donald Glover.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. It's a really great show. I think we've avoided getting into any real spoilers here. So definitely check it out. Like I said, it's on Netflix. They're about hour-long episodes, give or take. Very dramatic, very serious. There's humor, there's action. It's got a little bit of everything. And it's really freaking good.
Yep. Absolutely. 2 thumbs up. Trevor, great recommendation.
Yes. Thank you very much, Trevor. And thank you, Curtis, for hammering it home after Trevor recommended it. Good grief.
Absolutely.
I can't talk. Just merge your names together. All right. Well, that is it for our first Wednesday one shot. We'll be back with more down the road. Maybe together, maybe on our own. Maybe we'll have some guests do it or whatever, but stay out sometime on Wednesdays for these going forward. So, yeah, thanks for joining us.